Let me ask you a question. Are you ready for marriage or you're ready for just a wedding? A lot of people plan to get married. They plan for the wedding hall, they plan for their dresses, their suits, and everything, but they don't get prepared for marriage itself. And so they go into marriage frustrated, they go into marriage seeing a different version of themselves being revealed because marriage is like a mirror. It will reveal the things that are within you. It will reveal your deficiencies. It will reveal if you are actually prepared for marriage or you were just prepared for the wedding. You're welcome to Fit for Marriage. This is my YouTube channel, and I'm glad that you are here today. If this is your first time of watching any of my videos, it would be nice for you to subscribe so that you can get notifications anytime I post a new video. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. It would be nice to know what you think about today's video and what you've learned about it. All right, so let's go into what we want to talk about today, and that's about, are you ready for marriage or just ready for a wedding? Are you ready for marriage or just ready for a wedding? Marriage is not just about if you found the right person. Marriage is about if you've become or you're becoming the right person. Because it is not enough to find the right person. It is not enough to be of age and you tell yourself that you're ready to get married. It is not enough to have enough money to get married. There is what we call marriage readiness. It's about getting prepared to be the kind of person that will build a life successfully with someone else. And that's why it's important to really think and ask yourself before you get married, am I ready for marriage or I'm just ready for the wedding? There are a couple of things that we need to look at if we really want to know if you are ready for marriage and not just ready for the wedding. All right, we're going to look at a couple of things. And the first thing that I'd like to talk about is spiritual readiness. All right, spiritual readiness. It's important to understand what spiritual readiness means. Spiritual readiness means that you have a relationship with God, and that relationship with God is helping you improve, is helping you to walk on the path of love, is helping you to walk in love, is helping you to improve and build your character. That relationship with God is helping you to become a better human being. It's helping you to become kind. It's helping you to become gentle. It's helping you to become a good person. It's helping you to become meek. It's helping you to become a person of faith. Because this is really foundational upon which every other type of maturity or every other type of readiness would stand on. Spiritual maturity means that you understand what love means and you understand how to operate in love. You understand how to operate love. Because if you can have this foundation, it brings you to a place of readiness for marriage. If you don't have a relationship with God, if you don't love God, if you don't have a fear of God, it will be difficult for you to love someone else effectively. If you don't have the love of God in your heart, it will be difficult for you to love someone else effectively. And that's why it's important to start with spiritual readiness. And spiritual readiness is just the start. There is spiritual maturity. How much you operate the muscles of love, how much you operate the muscles of kindness, of faith, of gentleness, how you express your character, the depth of your character actually determines how mature you are. So if your character is shallow, yes, you have a relationship with God and you're working on improving yourself, which is really very commendable. But then the depth of your character is dependent on how much into God and into love you have come in. All right, that determines the depth of your character, and the depth of your character will definitely impact the quality of your marriage, because marriage will reveal the depth of your character. Marriage is like a mirror. It reveals how kind you are. It reveals how patient you are. Marriage will reveal how faithful you are, how humble you are, because marriage would stir up a lot of things in you, all right? And so, if you don't have a relationship with God that has directly impacted on your love walk and has directly impacted on your character, it will definitely show in your marriage. And so, that's why it's important that spiritual maturity or spiritual readiness is the first thing that you have to work on. The second thing that I'd like to share with you is emotional maturity. Emotional maturity. In marriage, you will get frustrated. In marriage, you will get hurt. In marriage, you will get disappointed. In marriage, you would be offended, all right? Marriage will trigger your emotional responses, all right? Marriage will trigger your emotional responses. Now, if you are not the person who is emotionally mature, it will reflect on the way that you respond emotionally. All right. There are people who respond in anger. There are people who respond with outbursts. There are people who respond with kind words. There are people who respond with just being quiet, being patient, saying the right things and not saying the wrong things that will hurt the other person. And so emotional maturity requires that, in spite of the pressure that you feel, all right, in spite of the pain that you feel, in spite of the offense that you experience, you are able to hold it together. All right. You don't say things that will hurt the other person. You don't do things that will hurt the other person. All right. You are able to not shut down when you're offended. You are able to manage your emotions and express it responsibly. All right. You are able to express emotions that are not destructive. And you're able to just apologize sincerely. You're able to disagree respectfully. All right. So marriage will challenge you emotionally. And when it does, it's important that you are at that place where you can handle those frustrations, those disappointments, those hurt, those even misunderstandings. All right. It's important to understand that, because if you don't handle your emotions well, it will destroy your relationship. And this is why it's important to be emotionally mature, because it's part of emotional readiness. If you're emotionally mature, it will show in how healthy you express your emotions. All right. An emotionally mature person understands that my emotions are real, yes, but I'm still responsible for how I express them. My emotions are real, they are valid, but I'm still responsible for how I express them. That's how an emotionally mature person thinks. All right. Now, the third thing I'm going to talk about is how you can handle responsibility. There's something about marriage. Marriage brings you, in fact, you're born into responsibility once you get married. You are born into responsibility once you get married. Family responsibility, life responsibility, financial responsibility, emotional responsibility. Everything about marriage will introduce you into responsibilities. All right. So marriage is not just about receiving support, because there's the thing about a lot of people. They get married to want to be pampered. They get married to want to be taken care of. All right. They get married to want to be supported. They don't think about themselves being responsible for the well-being of another person, whether it's their husband or their wives or their kids. They don't think about taking care of the well-being of someone else. So for them, they don't develop that part of their life because they've been conditioned that they will get married to someone who is going to take care of them. So a man gets married and he's not thinking about, for him, the woman should cook for him, the woman should clean for him, the woman should take care of him, the woman should do everything that he wants and everything that he demands. And then the woman also gets married and thinks that, oh, the man should take care of me financially, the man should help me live the soft life. So people go into marriage with some level of irresponsibility and the lack of capacity to really be responsible for themselves and for the other person. And because they have this mentality of who would take care of me, they lack the capacity to take care of themselves or take care of someone else. And that's why you'll find out that some men will get married, they don't pay the school fees of their children, they don't pay for rent, they just sit at home, they don't want to work because they didn't build their capacity to be responsible. All right, so what you should understand is that responsibility is part of readiness or marriage readiness or marital readiness. All right, so you are becoming part of someone else's emotional, mental, and their practical support system. You're being a part of that person's life, and that requires responsibility. That requires that you grow up. That requires that you are mature. All right, that is really very important. Now, the other thing I'm going to talk about, and that's the fourth thing, is can you sacrifice? This is very important. Can you sacrifice? Because the essence of love is sacrifice. One of the essence of love is sacrifice. You have to be able to put your needs above the other person's needs in a way that will require sacrifice. In marriage, you have to sacrifice. In marriage, you have to place your needs under the other person's needs. So the other person's needs has to be above your needs. All right. Marriage is not self-abandonment. So don't mistake it or don't misconstrue it. Marriage is not losing your identity. But it's important to understand that sacrifice has to be a part of your life, all right? You should be able to sacrifice for others. Marriage helps you to challenge your individualism, all right? It means that you are not just about yourself alone. There are other people that you are responsible for, that you need to invest yourself, invest your time, invest your resources, invest your effort in helping them becoming better people, in helping them improve, in helping them grow. So this has to do with your wife, this has to do with your children, this has to do with your family members, all right? And so sometimes it will not just be about your preference, all right? Your preferences will not come first, okay? So you have to sometimes compromise because it is necessary. All right, it is very important for you to compromise. And sometimes you must choose understanding over winning. You know, you must choose patience over frustration. You must choose unity over ego. All right, so the question is, can you adjust? You know, can you compromise? Can you think beyond yourself, really? Because marriage is partnership, and partnership requires flexibility. And this is where sacrifice comes in. You have to be that person of sacrifice. You have to be that person who would wake up every morning and tell yourself that I'm going to go out as a man, I'm going to work hard to ensure that my children are adequately taken care of. That's sacrifice. Stepping out every day to go and work, to be able to come back home to take care of your family is sacrifice. So marriage will bring you or introduce you into a life of sacrifice. If you're not ready to sacrifice for your wife, for your husband, for your children, don't go into marriage. All right. You find out that a lot of women would say, this happens a lot with women. They'll say, my money is my money. Even when the man doesn't have enough in a season of their marriage, she can't bring her money, to take care of things at home. She's like, it's the man's responsibility. And so that's all it is. The children have been sent home from school. But then because you don't want to sacrifice your own personal money, you're saying, I'm not bringing money, into this marriage. The kids can stay at home until when the man has enough money. And this can also be vice versa. I've seen men who have shown lack of sacrifice, lack of responsibility, because they've seen that there is a wife or a woman who is hardworking, who is making money. They decide to take advantage of that. They don't provide for their kids, they don't provide for their household, they don't provide, for the family. That's not a character of someone who is ready for marriage or who is fit for marriage. So it's important that before you even get married, before you start talking about getting married, ensure that you are ready. And when I mean ready, I mean that you can be that person that can sacrifice. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is, are you healed enough to love well? Are you healed enough to love well? A lot of people go into marriages with a lot of baggage. A lot of people go into marriages with a lot of pain, a lot of trauma. All right. They carry bitterness, they carry trauma, they carry severe trust issues, emotional instability, the fear of vulnerability. They carry all of this based on the past experiences, past unresolved pains that, they've been dealing with or they've dealt with all their lives. And so because they think that they've come to that age of marriage, they feel that, okay, it's time to get married, let me get married. But they've not dealt with the past trauma, the past pain. They've not healed from these things. And because they've not healed from these things, they will bleed on their partners. It would cause a lot of issues. And so it's important that you think about healing from your past experience. You think about healing from unresolved pains. You think about healing from all the bitterness, all the anger, all the frustrations, all the trauma that you faced in the past. Because without addressing them, these issues will later show up in your marriage. All right. And marriage is not therapy. Don't confuse marriage for therapy, because a lot of people would say, oh, when I get married, when I love him and he loves me, then it would change me, okay, or it will solve the problem of the pain that I experience. But that's not how it works. Marriage is not therapy. You need to go for therapy to heal from your past pain, from the unresolved issues that you have, because you don't want to bring that baggage into your marriage or into your relationship. All right. So a spouse can support your healing, but your spouse cannot heal you from you. Your spouse can support your healing, but they cannot heal you from you. You have to be the one who would walk through that journey to get healed. And so you can come into that marriage an improved version of yourself that would love your partner effectively. All right. So one of the best gifts you can give your future partner or your marriage is your commitment to your personal growth. All right. If you decide that you want to heal from past trauma, past pain, past experiences, is a sign that you value personal growth. And that's a gift that you can give to your partner. That's a gift that you can give to your future marriage. If you're married already and you're still experiencing certain unresolved pain and trauma, it's okay to go in for therapy. It's okay to go through that process of healing so that you can be able to be a better person for your partner or your spouse. All right, I'm going to give one last bonus, and that's conflict resolution. Can you handle conflict? Can you handle conflict? The problem is not disagreements. We have different people. You will disagree, that's for sure. All right, you will have difference in opinion, that's for sure. The problem is how people handle these differences in opinions and disagreements. That's where it's important to build the skill on conflict resolution. All right, some people avoid conflict completely. Some people become aggressive. Some shut down emotionally. Some become defensive. Some refuse accountability. All right, but these patterns create problems. When you're that person who avoid conflict completely, or you shut down, or you're aggressive, or you're defensive, or you refuse accountability, they create problems. All right, these are not effective skills for conflict resolution. So it's important to understand that marriage readiness requires that you are a person who listens. You are a person who communicates effectively. All right. You're a person who stay calm. You listen. You seek understanding. All right. You resolve issues respectfully. Because healthy conflict resolution strengthens relationships. All right. But destructive conflict resolution weakens relationships. So it's important to work on your skill of conflict resolution, because you will always experience conflict in your relationship. You will. And there's nothing wrong in experiencing or having conflict in your relationship. Conflict is just a symbol of the fact that you are two different people. It's a sign that you have two different opinions. You disagree over things. All right, you see things differently. So conflict is not the problem. It's how you handle that conflict. It's how you resolve your issues. All right. It's how you show understanding. It's how you seek to understand the other person, how you talk, listen to the other person, how you communicate and talk to the other person, the tone of your voice, how you say it, what you say, when you say it, your ability to seek understanding, how to resolve issues respectfully without hurting the other person. This skill is very critical. Your love for that person won't provide this skill for you. Your love for that person would automatically make you responsible. Preparation is key to building a marriage and building a relationship that will last for a lifetime. All right, so think about these things. It's important that you think about spiritual maturity or spiritual readiness. You think about emotional maturity. You think about ability to handle conflict. You think about responsibility. You think about healing from past trauma, and that gives you capacity to love well. All right. You think about your ability to sacrifice. These are things that you need to build yourself in to be ready for a marriage. All right. The finances will get you ready for the wedding. All right. But when it comes to marriage itself, these are core things that you need to build yourself on, so that you would have a beautiful relationship. So marriage is not one decision. It is thousands of decisions, okay? So one wedding day, yes, but then years of daily choices, years of daily decisions that you need to make. You have to keep choosing commitment every day. You have to keep forgiving the person every day. You have to keep communicating every day. You have to keep having to make the choice of loyalty, of partnership, of growth again and again. In fact, you wake up every morning and say, today I choose forgiveness. Today I choose loyalty. Today I choose growth. Today I choose partnership. Because a lot of people underestimate these things, and that's why they go into marriage, and the first few years of their marriage are really frustrated. They are fighting every time because they were not really ready. The people who go into marriage, first, second, third year of their marriage, they are fighting, they are regretting why they got married to each other, they are having conflicts and all of that. The degree of fight, conflict, issues, problems, quarrels, threats to divorce that you will have within the first few years of your marriage is a reflection of how ready you both were before you got married. All right. So these things reveal your marriage readiness, your marriage capacity. All right. So that's really very important. So marriage is about preparation. It's about becoming emotionally mature enough to love well. All right. To be responsible, to be self-aware, to be humble. These are things that are qualities that you require to build a successful marriage. All right. So I'm going to stop here today. And you should understand that marriage is not sustained by readiness alone, all right? It is sustained by a lifelong commitment to growth, because you can be ready, but then you get into the marriage, 2 years later, you're not growing anymore. You've stopped growing, you stopped making that commitment to improve on yourself and all of that. Readiness alone won't sustain the marriage. It will help kickstart the marriage. It will help you on a good start, but You have to commit to growth every day. You keep improving. That is what will sustain that marriage for a lifetime. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've learned something. If you've learned something, please share this with your friends. Make a comment, ask questions. I'd like to know your thoughts. And don't also forget to subscribe. Till I come your way next time, take care and have a good one. Bye.